BRTL Autosports. BRTL Autosports. Follow me on Twitter. That way you get all the good stuff ahead of time, all the announcements. And we'll talk about that announcement here at the top of the broadcast. It is the finale, the Season 31 finale. We've got to wave goodbye to the RS 500 Cosworth as we send its 363 horsepower out into oblivion. Well, that's after we do 76 laps around the Silverstone National Circuit. So plenty of racing left in the season, all to happen here tonight. And we've got two drivers in the running for the championship, AMS Udakan and DOR Corvid, otherwise known as Crimson, here in the chat. Thank yous to share here this evening. LMP Dragon with the follow. Depressed Millennial. Well, that's sad. Depressed Millennial, thank you for the follow. Illusion 44 with the follow. Guru Cookie. I love that name. Guru Cookie with the follow. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this one. Sorishiano or Sorishino. Thank you for that follow. There's probably a much easier way to do that. AMS Brian with the follow. And just now, Catalyst Patient Zero. KPZ. As I now know you. Thank you very much for that. And we'll get things going here very, very soon. Kick back, relax, grab yourself a snack, a drink. You're going to need it. We've got about an hour and 45 minutes of racing coming your way nonstop here on the broadcast. SVR Solar saying, I should join last minute just to give Udakan and Corvid a hard time just for the bands. Yeah, Solar, hey, you wouldn't be the first one. You wouldn't be the first one. We actually had, who was it? Family Dude or AMS Storm, I think, show up late last season, if I remember correctly. You wouldn't be the first, and certainly not the last. Skolsey, that's who it was. You want details on the Forza Spec Racing Series? Go on over there to the link that Nightbot just dropped into the chat, reddit.com/r/FM4, and it'll take you to all the information you need to know about Season 31. Season 32, to be announced as we come to the conclusion of this season. The champion here gets to pick the vehicle for Season 32. And that's what everybody will take on here in about a couple of weeks' time. We'll give you information at that, or for that, here at the end of the broadcast. And that brings us right to the end of our countdown. Again, thank you tuning in. Virtual Autosports, and it is sad. I always, you eagerly anticipate this day at the beginning of the season to find out who's going to take home the championship, but then by the time it shows up, you're like, no, we need some more racing. There you go. Through week number 4, up to week number 5, which is here tonight. AMS Udakan up at the top of the leaderboard with 289 points. DOR Corvid or Crimson, 285. AMS Storm there in third place. Unfortunately, the math just does not work out for him. And even if Udakan and Corvid were to have their worst week to date, which would be goose eggs for them, that would not give room for Storm to make up the difference. Craytrim there in 4th, Foontang in 5th, Chaos Fox in 6th, T-Phrase is 7th, Mesosphere there in 8th, Audrex in 9th, Slipstream, Slow Motion Fire, Fear the Fun, Joe Beardy, Celtic Warrior, Barf Monkey 22, and Weiss Lancelot are 10 through 16. And then you can see the folks over there 17 through 24, and there are a few more names that don't make the leaderboard. But if you would like to participate like I said, head on over to that Reddit link, reddit.com/r/FM4. Get yourself prepped and ready, knowing what the expectations are of the league. And really, the only expectation is that you race cleanly. Everything else just mandates that you have the car required to enter. And they give you a few specifications, actually the full list of specifications, what you need to do to upgrade your car to the level that it needs to compete at. The tunes, those are up to you. Catalyst Patient Zero. Am I hearing this correctly? Organized racing in Forza Motorsport 7. I play all the time, but get tired of the kids and the lack of racecraft. KPZ, where have you been? Yes, my man or gal, whichever one you may be, we've got organized racing happening. Yes, it's 2 years, more than 2 years past the launch date of Forza Motorsport 7, and there is still plenty of organized league racing happening here on Forza. And we've got it for the PC or for the Xbox One, whichever. You are eligible to enter as long as you've got the Forza Motorsport 7 game for either of those two platforms. Thankfully, with the crossplay, we can get drivers from all walks of life, whether you like sitting behind the computer with your controller or behind the console or in front of the console and in front of a TV screen, or perhaps you have a wheel hooked up to your console or your PC. Whatever works for you, you are encouraged to do that. Whatever makes you most competitive, steering wheel or controller. It's where everyone stated before FRC and LMES came about, says Solar. And Solar's talking about Tora and the Delta Online Racing Leagues. And folks, again, if you're not following me on Twitter, it's not like you're missing out on everything and anything. It's just a place where I get to drop some cool photos from time to time, and then also a few little announcements that are specific to the channel. And to that, I'd like to share that starting on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, I will be covering for 24 hours straight the Tora Daytona 24 hours. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast. They've got two divisions of cars that are running out there at the sports circuit of Daytona, and it'll be 24 hours of racing. If you're not familiar with how Tora does things, there are stints that are broken up, so everybody departs, exits the lobby, or gets back into the lobby off the racetrack. Exchange drivers where necessary. Otherwise, some may stay in for back-to-back stints, and then you get out there and race for another couple of hours. Doing that for 12 total stints. I will give you green to checker coverage all the way through, and I will do it with this amount of enthusiasm. Okay, no, probably not. It'll start the wane toward the end, but it's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. Of all the things that are in my amateur Forza bucket list, this is probably the last one that's up there, is to check off a 24-hour broadcast. Then after that, then are the aspirations for Turn 10 community, whatever. And I shared that with a lot of you guys back when we had our New Year's or our pre-New Year's Eve broadcast back there in December. That really my goal, my resolution in 2020 is to find a way where I can support the community in an official capacity. But before I realize that dream, because it won't happen between now and Saturday, we've got this very ominous but very exciting race to look forward to here. The 24 Hours of Daytona. Again, that's kicking off this Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. That'll be 9 o'clock for me, all the way to 10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Various exclamations, says Slow Motion Fire. Loud noises. LMP Chicago says, please look at my livery. Please take a look at it. We'll take a look at it here during qualifying. How about that there, Chicago? Solar saying, better be getting paid for this, Kappa. Nope, not getting paid. And as a matter of fact, I mean, I rushed, as soon as I knew that I was going to be attempting this, I rushed on over to the Tora Media Discord, and I said, hey guys, can I do the thing? Can I do the 24-hour thing? And they said, sure. Whatever you want to try to do. They probably, although they were behind computers, they probably looked at me with crazy, like an expression of like, man, you're crazy. And then, of course, I just sat there nodding my head and saying, yeah. Let me do that. 24 hours of Daytona coming up here this Saturday from start to finish. All right, we've got a lot of action to look forward to here tonight. We'll talk to some of our drivers after qualifying happens, because after that, after the qualifying happens, then we go out to the race, and then we're there for the rest of the night. So we'll talk to our drivers after qualifying. But again, as a refresher, AMS Huracan is at the top of the leaderboard, but just by 4 points over DOR Corvette or Crimson. They're at 285. Everybody else, there you see with the neon green outline around their gamer tag and points, unfortunately are no longer in the running for the championship. But that isn't to say they aren't competing for the place that they are currently running in or the place that they aspire to. We talked to so many of our drivers here in the driver's spotlight who are like, yeah, you know what, I wasn't expecting to come away as the champion, but man, if I get top 10, top 8, heck, even top 5, I'm going to chalk that up as a victory. I would. Heck, you get me on this leaderboard, and I'm good. I'll be satisfied with that. Looking over there at the chat, once again, we got Force One hanging out with us here on a Tuesday evening, or at least for now. THR Flip Mode, who I mentioned earlier. There's Huracan, and he's got the crazy face, and that's probably the face that the Torah organizers had when I said that I was going to go 24 straight. They were probably like, what? And if you guys haven't yet checked out the Forza Monthly broadcast, which happened, was it yesterday? It had to have been yesterday because today is only Tuesday. So it happened yesterday, the Forza Monthly broadcast over on the Forza Discord, or not the Forza Discord, but the Forza Twitch or Mixer channels. And you can watch as Ben, the president of the Online Racing Association, talks a little bit about not only the Daytona 24, but some of the things that they have coming up with the American Iron Championship Race Series. And he alluded to that there will be multiple 24-hour races, or at least endurance races here in 2020. All right, I'm going to go into spectate mode. 3 laps of qualifying are about to go down here at the top of the hour. Force One with the subscription. Force One, thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Force One, if you guys aren't following him on Twitter, go check him out. His Twitter tag, and Force One, help me out here, is Force One plus a few digits at the end. And I saw the tweet that Force One was like, man, I really wish I could get the Force One handle, but there's just some dude who is just squatting on it and hasn't done anything with it. Force One 141. There you go. That's what you're looking for. Give him a follow on Twitter. Follow his adventures in esports as a professional esports racing driver here in the world of Forza, and I'm guessing maybe even on other platforms. All right, we're just waiting for Slow Motion Fire here to give us the cue that everything is ready to go. We've got 17 drivers currently on the grid. There's LMP Chicago. He said, take a look at my livery, please. We could see it. I see a PlayStation livery. Is this something from Gran Turismo? If so, I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. I see Mellow Yellow on the side there. Oh, it's Race Torah. It's Torah. It's a Torah livery. How about that? We'll take a look at it in its full glory when we get out to the track for the 3 laps of qualifying out here at the Silverstone National Circuit. It's the final race, season 31 in the RS 500, 363 horsepower, as you can see, A700 class here in the world of Forza Motorsport 7 in terms of its performance, acceleration, handling, braking, top speed, a few things factored into that one. Force One saying, yeah, I qualified for one of the World Tour events, but it clashed with the Forza RC test event back in May. Force One talking about one of the Gran Turismo Sport Series events. Very exciting, man. Very exciting stuff. The world of esports for the racing genre, along with all the other genres that are out there, but really the one that I'm most passionate about, the racing genre, has really, really taken off, and it's quite cool to see. And we're hanging tight here. We're 1 past the hour. Perhaps the organizers just waiting for one more driver to hop into the lobby. I could see here that it looks like Slow Motion Fire, as I look over at the Discord, has already prompted a little bit of a time warning, just giving everybody a heads up. This is the final race here of the season. So if you're not in now for qualifying, then you'll be placed at the end of the pack. Have no fear. That's okay. You got 76 laps to make up for it. What's going to happen here with pit strategy? Because as we have seen throughout the season, depending on the tracks, the car tracks, the car has been the same all throughout the season. But because of the variation of circuits that have happened or that have come across the schedule here in Season 31, it has necessitated a little bit more strategy as some of that tire wear comes into play. And now we're going to go ahead and looks like we've got the black loading screen, and there we go. First off the line, it's going to be LSEM Chaos Fox. You get that nice standing start to get everything warmed up, get reacquainted with the track, even though some of our drivers have already been out here doing some practice test laps, getting a little bit of familiarity, especially with other drivers on the course. But as we talked about, this is going to be one of the more wider circuits that we've had in Season 31. Taking a look back, we had Sebring back in race number 1, although that's a pretty wide track. Then it was Suzuka, followed by Homestead and Bernese Alps. Then there at mid-season, just before the holidays, Road Atlanta, the full circuit. Then it was the Indy Brickyard Speedway, which was a fun one. That was followed by, in just last week, Maple Valley, the full circuit, and Sebring short at night. And now here we are under sunny skies? Say it isn't so. This isn't the England that I know. Silverstone National Circuit, 26 lappers. And there we go. Across the line, it's going to be LSEM Chaos Fox. Let's go ahead and throw some stats there in the lower left-hand corner for you. That's going to be a 1:04.6 on that standing start. Let's look a little bit further back. Let's go to Chicago, who was telling us, hey, have a look-see at my livery. And as we go back there to Chicago, look at that. It's the Daytona 24 livery. I know Slow Motion Fire was putting something together for his car, and look at that. Sure as heck. You got the nice maroon fading into the white up front. It's a beaut. The boys at Toro would be proud. Let's go take a look at Slow Motion Fire's car. Slow Motion Fire been sporting because he's unofficially sponsored by Chia, the Chia Pet, and now he's got a few little accoutrements with the Daytona 24 livery, or at least some stickers on there, and a little shout out to Virtual Autosports for our 24-hour coverage. Again, if you missed it at the top of the broadcast, 24 hours starting this Saturday, January 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern, all the way through to the next day, nonstop. Will I die or will I stay alive? Tune in to find out. What's up there, Actual Vision? Good to see ya. England is a hot country these days. Maybe not for maybe not this decade, but was Actual Vision. Good to see you as well. And folks, make sure you guys are following Actual Vision here on Twitch. I think you do a little bit of YouTube stuff as well. You guys are coming out the woodwork here today. As we are still hanging out with Slow Motion Fire out in front of him, he's got Mesosphere racing with the FM4 boys here tonight after a little bit of a hiatus at midpoint through the season. We did see Meza last week and did quite well out there at Maple Valley. DWM Frog, yeah, 24 hours, not 2.4, not 24 minutes. Not 24 hours spread out across 12 months. 24 hours in a single stint. And it's going to be Udakan right now with the top time at a 58.3. And it looks like everybody's coming across for their third and final lap. Maybe we just look a little bit further back. Here is Audrex now in the AMD Risen car. Starting to approach Brooklands here. You hit the left-hand corner. No undulation to this track. Very flat, level circuit. If not, maybe just a few degrees or a few feet of elevation change across the track itself, but not in any one corner or any one straight. And there you go. Let's hop into those previous race results. And as always the case here in Forza Motorsport 7, we've got to ignore the fact that Turn 10 or Forza Motorsport does not rack and stack based on the best lap. I wish I could just click right here and make magic happen, but unfortunately we cannot. Boontang with a 59.464. LSM Chaos Fox with a 1 double lot 9. Craytrim with a 58.5. That's going to put him up toward the front of the pack. AMS Storm right behind him with a 58.609. 59.121 is Audrex. 58.706 is for Skolsey. AMS Udakan with a 58.304. That's going to make him our pole sitter. LMP Chicago with a 58.519. Mesosphere with a 58.801. 59.417 for Slow Motion Fire. Fear the Fun at a 59.492. Weiss Lancelot, a 101.005. DOR Corvette at a 58.8. Joe Beardy, the driver who I had a lot of hope for in this season. Joe Beardy, you disappointed me a little bit. No, that's okay. You did fine. A 101.378 here at the Silverstone National. DJ Hocus with a 59.259. CMD Slipstream at a 59.340. Randy's Gut at a 100.6. And Modern Weapon coming in there with a 59.9. 18 drivers, as it so turns out. So we got one more to jump on in there. That's always great. 18 drivers on the grid currently. Maybe we'll add a few more here in between the qualifying and the race session. Tendrell, am I getting that right? Thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. And now let's go on over to the area, the part of the broadcast that I love so much. We get a chance to talk to some of our drivers, and let's go ahead and loop in one of the guys who's up for the championship here in Season 31. It's DOR Corvid. And Corvid, as I take a look at that leaderboard once again, where are you? You've got a 58.867, so maybe on row 2 or 3?
That puts me in 7th.
No, it does not.
It does.
Lies. All right.
I wish I was lying. I promise you.
Okay, so maybe you're not coming out to qualifying with the top time, but 76 laps, a lot of opportunity to make things happen.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably going to have to rely on lap traffic to hold Huracan up a bit, because I believe, as it stands, I have to win this race or finish at least 2 positions ahead of him.
Okay. Yeah, and unfortunately there I had to boost your volume a little bit, but now you sound nice and loud. Tell us a little bit about the track itself. There hasn't been a lot of these circuits. Sebring is the only one that comes to mind where we don't have the undulations, the change of elevation. And now here we are in the finale, 76 laps to get around the track. Tire wear, fuel depletion may become an issue. So what does this track present in terms of challenges?
So this track is very unique from the rest of the tracks we did in that it's mostly corners on a flat surface, like you said. So the tire wear characteristics won't be quite as pronounced as they were at like Maple Valley. So they'll last a little bit longer, but it is a much longer race. I'm expecting to have to box at least once.
Talking with DOR Corvid here in the driver's spotlight ahead of the Season 31 finale in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Yeah, you talked about what it's going to take to surpass Udakan there on the leaderboard. That being said, it's been a great season all the way throughout. You had AMS Storm, who was in there in the running for a little bit. Even Cratering was in the mix. You guys were actually duking it out quite a bit throughout the season. Very competitive, very close season coming here to the final race.
Yeah, definitely, and we've just had more and more fast people join this battle throughout the season. Unfortunately, things fell in place so that Storm and CT weren't up here in this battle for the last round, but we still got plenty of cars to cope with, so it's, like you said at the beginning of this interview, it's kind of up in the air still, no matter what happens in this early stage.
It is. It is indeed. And we've got a lot of folks who are over there in the queue for interview section. So, Corvin, I'll leave with you an opportunity to, before the race gets going here, any last shout outs, anybody you want to say hi to or maybe challenge here in this final one?
I want to say thanks to Slow and Modern for putting this on a pretty much continuous basis.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to thank Huracan Storm CT for making this as fun as it has been. It's been an absolute blast, and I can only be happy with my performance and everyone else's.
If we get all of these names back for season 32, it is going to be madness. That season will be utterly competitive. Corvin, great chatting with you as always, and perhaps we'll see you here in the driver's spotlight at the finish line.
I definitely hope so. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and let's drop in here. LMP Chicago. LMP Chicago was there in the pit lane in Twitch chat and saying, hey, take a look at my my livery, my car. You showed up last week for the first time here in Season 31, for the first time in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Now you're sporting a D24 livery. You're getting ready and geared up for the finale.
Yep.
And looking at your time, as I flip through the lobby here, LMP Chicago, a 58.519. Pretty satisfied with that, or was there a little bit of room for you to make that up, and perhaps will you be able to make that up here in the 76-lap race?
I feel like I could have gone probably a tenth faster, but with Huracan's lap time, I don't think that would have made a difference. But you just have to, with Huracan's pace, we're going to have to hope that a miracle happens with lag outs, and the rule now with backing out during endurance races, letting the guy that lagged out back into the race.
Yep. Yeah, a few rules, and of course, anybody who's interested in participating with the Forza Spec Racing Series, you're encouraged to read those from top to bottom. They're pretty straightforward, easy to interpret, and so check those out. That way you get in and you're knowledgeable about how to race. LMP Chicago, this will be your third race here in FM4, so your experience with the car, just give us your initial impressions with the RS500 here early on, or at least early on for you, late in the season.
It's a fun car, but with the track that we're at today, the pace is going to be closer as there isn't much room for error, or there is quite a bit room for error on this track with the different lines you could be taking into some of the corners. But yeah, the car's been really good to drive. It didn't take long getting used to. The only problem that other people might have is the turbo lag that the thing packs.
Yeah, very true. And LMP Chicago, as we look to season 32, I think I might have asked you if we can anticipate seeing you, and I think your answer was something along the lines of, I sure hope so. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But then if you can make it for season 32, what's the division? What's the performance of car that you're maybe looking forward to seeing, and that you're hoping the champion might be picking for that upcoming season?
There's rumors going around about a van. But other than that, I don't know.
Very good, very good. Well, LMP Chicago, thanks for jumping in here in the season, and best of luck to you here at Silverstone.
Yep.
All right, I see another name on the leader, or not the leaderboard, but the driver interview queue, and he's also on the leaderboard. And I'm going to bring him in here now because I said, Joe Beardy, you disappointed me a little bit in this season, but you don't have to live up to my standards. I usually set up unreasonably high expectations. Joe Beardy, how are you feeling with things here leading into the finale of season 31?
Oh, I'm trying to just put it all together. I was doing pretty good practicing earlier this week, but unfortunately I went off, in my
Yeah, Ben McKenna there in the chat with the fail. It looks like we're back. My apologies to you all there viewing the broadcast here. I thought I had everything worked out with my ISP. I'm going to have to get it sorted out, especially ahead of a 24-hour broadcast. Chatting here with Joe Beardy. Joe Beardy, I know I've been holding on to you here in the driver's spotlight for too long. Your expectations here in the final race, where do you want to see yourself finish?
Oh, man, if I can make it in the top 10, I'll be plenty happy. We got a lot of fast guys in here tonight. I screwed up my qualifying, so I'm starting at the back. So I think for my strategy, at least, I'm just going to try to stay out of trouble, make some clean pit stops, try not to burn up the tires, and see where we can end up. But top 10 is definitely going to be my goal for tonight, hoping some people make some mistakes. But we got some good drivers, so I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out indeed. Joe Beardy, good talking to you. Best of luck at Silverstone. We'll see you at the finish line.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right. And yeah, I see that's the thing. Craytrim is saying not even Flex Tape can fix the Twitch servers. I had my ISP look into it. They thought that they had seen something that maybe they could fix and help out, get everything running smoothly again. I actually have upgraded to a new modem, even though I didn't need to, thinking that maybe that would help out. Not the case. So I don't know if it's a Twitch server issue that I'm having, because obviously I'm very much connected here to the Forza lobby. Haven't lost any connection there. We've got 19 drivers. Make that 19 now here at Silverstone, getting ready for 76 laps around this 1.64 mile circuit. There you see we've got a couple of bendy areas. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make it 7 corners. You've got the very, very infamous Copse corner right off the start-finish line. That right-hander, sweeping right-hander, heading toward Maggots. And then before you get to Beckett's, you hit that Aintree corner. Then it's on to the Wellington Straights, Brooklands, and then it's Luffield and then Woodcote, which is a slight little bend to the right as you head back toward the start-finish line. Don't miss that pit entry if you're looking to make that pit stop. You get past that, you'll have to do another 1.64 miles around, but that comes around pretty quickly. However, that could screw up your strategy ever so slightly. And here we go, out to the track, getting ready for what is sure to be a good one. Look out for AMS Udakan and DOR Corvid. Those are the two drivers in the running for the championship. Slow motion fire there telling us in the pit lane that we are getting ready to go. I'm going to start my replay buffer. That way we can get some replay action going. Ladies and gentlemen, my question to you, are you ready? Here we go. LSCM Chaos Fox he's yelling. I don't know what he's yelling, but he is. Here we are, sitting on the line. As it is going to be AMS Udakan who determines when this race gets going. And here we go, off the line. Kick the tires and light the fires, ladies and gentlemen. Season 31 comes to a head here this evening with the Forza Spec Racing Series. Udakan is clearing away from second place, although that gap is closing with LMP Chicago closing in on him here into Maggots. Behind him, it's Craytrim, DOR Corbin in 4th, Mesosphere in 5th, Skolsey in 6th, Audrex in 7th, Slipstream, DJ Hocus, Slow Motion Fire round out the top 10. Down the Wellington Straight underneath the bridge, and how they come up to the left-hand corner, we will see here as I thought maybe the brake disc would start to glow there on that neon green and black car of Udakan, representing the AMS, the Alien Motorsport crew. Very predictably there in those colors, and here they come just as quick as this race began. We get ready to close the books on lap number 1 as Udakan points it right toward the checkered line. It's just a couple of white lines there across the asphalt, and there they go, back over that right-hand apex, the curbing and all, a little bit of grass. Udakan now with about a 2 or 3 car separation. Let's go back to 4th position with DOR Corvid, who's looking to get around Craytrim. We've got Tuna Star, 2 with the yeet there in the pit lane, the Twitch chat, as you might otherwise know it. Here comes Corvid. He's going to look up to the inside of Craytrim, coming out of Aintree, and now down the Wellington Straight, it's going to be Craytrim who's on the back bumper of Corvid. Corvid now into the top 3. Craytrim closing in on him, and look at that. You've got Skolsey and Mesosphere right there behind him. Audrex as well. Catalyst Patient Zero saying tickling those track limits. These drivers, although this is a beer league, as Slow Motion Fire would call it, They are very cognizant of those track limits. Do not exceed those. Don't take advantage on the track itself. Let your skill do all the talking. And there you see LMP Chicago and Udakan in second and first respectively, starting to get some separation here on Corvette and Cratrim and Mesosphere as these three make that four with Skolsey behind them and Audrex inevitably back behind them, all battling it out for third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Let's go back a little bit. There was Skolsey in sixth position, and let's ride on board. Well, that's not what we're looking for. Now we're on board. You see there on the back of Mesosphere's car, powered by the Elder Gods. And across the line, the 87 Ford Sierra Cosworth RS 500 here in Forza Motorsport 7 A700 class. That's the A700. It's pretty high up on the performance spectrum here in Forza Motorsport 7. 363 horsepower, 299 foot-pounds of torque. The cars weigh 2,367 pounds. They are in their original rear-wheel drive configuration with that YBD motor bumped up from 224 horsepower up to that 363. 51% weight ratio favoring the front ever so slightly. And as our drivers have gone throughout the season telling us, the understeer is the one thing that they've had to deal with this car. Although I think on this track, they've pretty well sorted these vehicles out, knowing that they're not going to have any camber in the corners to work with. Make those fine-tune adjustments to make these vehicles perform at their best as they go around 76 laps here at Silverstone National. Who's going to be our champion at the end of the evening? The driver who does come away with the most points here in Season 31 gets the bragging rights. They get to pick the vehicle for season number 32. You want to guess what that vehicle is? Head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4 where they post up some pretty ambiguous photos. And if you guess the vehicle correctly, whether you're a driver or a spectator, guess what? They're going to let you pick one of the tracks for Season 32. Let's go ahead and move up a little bit further here. Udakan is now starting to establish a commanding lead here on LMP Chicago. Again, LMP Chicago only in his third race, his second week here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. So much like Chicago, if you think you're skilled enough to take on these drivers, hop into the next season. Even if you're not and you find yourself a little bit up toward the front, maybe more so in the middle, or even a little bit further back, that's quite all right as long as you race clean. Those are the only expectations. Let's run through the field here for you all. In third, it's DOR Corvin, followed by Cratrium. Mesosphere in fifth, Skolsey in sixth, seventh is Audrex, Slipstream in eighth, Storm is ninth, Fear the Fun in 10th, 11th is Chaos Fox, Funtang in 12th, 13th is DJ Hocus, Slow Motion Fire in 14th, Joe Beardy in 15th, Modern Weapon is 16th, 17th is Weiss Lancelot, and he's followed by Randy's Gut and Born as Ghost. All 19 drivers who started remain out on the track. My pleasure, Catalyst. You're telling me as someone who can't race to save my life, to be able to watch these fine folks do it, these guys and gals, each and every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Of course, we'll take a little bit of a break here as we go into the off-season between Season 31 and Season 32. Hell, I might as well just mention it right now. Season 32, week number 1, picks up on February the 4th. February the 4th is Season 32. If you head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. Go ahead and pen that into your browser or make it a favorite, whatever the case may be. And as soon as all the details get announced, let Slow Motion Fire know, hey, I want to participate. Here we go. We've got Mesosphere holding off Skolsey for right now. Mesosphere has made his way up to 5th position. He has Cratrim and Corvette out in front of him, 4th and 3rd, as Udakan and Chicago are now just blazing a trail out into the distance, crossing the line, beginning of lap number 8. Force One, he's going to lurk for a bit. Force One, again, and sincerely, thank you so much for being here And congratulations to all the latest success that you and your team have had. We look forward to seeing how things pan out here in 2020. And there goes Skolsey on the back of Mesosphere's bumper. That's going to send him wide. Mesosphere maybe just thinking, thanks. I love to be your breaking point. But Mesosphere he was able to get out unscathed. No damage to that vehicle apart from a few scrapes there on the backside. And now here he comes, and he's going to give Cratrim a little bit of a boot. And Cratrim able to avoid the Shadow Realm coming through the corner here of Luffield up to Woodcote. And look at this, we're going to go side by side with Mesosphere. Skolsey to the inside. Back toward the line, it's going to be Meza who has the advantage as they head up to Copse. And what's going to happen here? Mesosphere, he's going to own his line at least as much as he can, given just enough room for Skolsey to have the inside. Skolsey's going to remain on the inside as they come up to Maggots, which will be the outside for Maggots, and then sweep it through a tree, and there goes Skolsey, reclaiming fifth, if not just momentarily. And here comes Mesosphere with the old switchback. He's going to make a run for it here on Wellington, but just not going to have the power to get around. Let's see what happens coming up to Brooklands. And Mez is going to go ahead and just drop back for now. And let's go ahead and pull that back up here on the Virtual Autosport Instant Replay. Cratrim looking well off the pace here as he goes ahead and heads toward the inside of the corner. That's going to allow, it looks like, Corvid and Skolsey are going to make a run on him. And let's go ahead and pull off of Mesosphere's car here as he hangs back momentarily. And there goes Skolsey running wide now. That's going to allow Cratrim to get back up into fourth, where he was battling it out with Corvid a few laps ago. And now here comes Skolsey roaring back, trying to reclaim fourth position. Plenty of racing to go, so you got to be careful. You don't want to push it too far, cause an accident, and then you have a lot more ground to make up. Makes it that much more exciting for us as the viewers, but keeping it clean out there, keeping everybody's noses clean, keeping everybody out of pit lane until you absolutely need to. And there they come into Maggots, out of Maggots, and Skolsey now back up to fourth as they play the exchange game, and it's going to be Mesosphere who's now going to capitalize down the Wellington Straight, and now Mesosphere will move up a spot, and of course we can expect this back and forth for quite a while in this one as you see things happening there at the ticker toward the top. I'm Dustin Moore, and thank you all very much again for tuning in. Virtual Autosports here live on Twitch TV on a Tuesday. I hope you're having a good one. We're well into 2020 now, the 14th day of January, 14th day of the new decade. Miredly and Friars 1987. Thank you all very much for that follow. Our race leader continues to be Udakan out there. He's now good, has a good 4 to 5 second lead on his closest competitor. That's going to be LMP Chicago there in second. DOR Corvid in third. Skolsey now in fourth as they continue to battle it out here as Mesosphere. And now Cratrim, of course, who was up there in fourth position, going to be looking to grab those spots back sooner rather than later. Into Luffield, and there goes Cratrim now to the inside of Mesa. A little bit further back, we've got Storm now making his way up through the ranks in 8th, Slipstream in 9th, Foodtank is there in 10th, Fear the Fun in 11th, Chaos Fox in 12th, DJ Hocus in 13th, and Chaos Fox having quite a bit of bad luck here in Season 31. making the appearance despite initially thinking he would take a break from Forza Motorsport 7. We're glad to have Chaos Fox out on the track, and hopefully we'll see him for many seasons to come. Here comes Craytrim, as he can only watch as his 4th place position, P4, starts to fall out of reach with the very competitive Scolsi and Meza starting to run away. And of course, just as I say that, Craytrim makes some ground. Don't forget, folks, this Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, we've got 24 hours of Daytona all the way through. How will my voice survive? I'm not quite sure. But you can catch it live from time to time. If you stay up all 24 hours, you're a pro. You're a pro racing enthusiast, at least on the esports side. I won't say that's a qualifier for being a pro enthusiast in the real world, but man, if you watch a virtual broadcast straight on through to the end, that's some cojones, or at least a very got very strong willpower to make it through. And across the line they go here for the beginning of lap number 15 of 76. That 77th lap there you see in the top left, that'll be a cool down lap. So 76 is the magic number that we're watching. Turning over here to our Twitch chat, LMP Dragon. And again, LMP Dragon, if you weren't here earlier, thank you very much for that follow last week. I might potentially recall Cody's to see if they can start me for February. It's annoying because people that came into the team after me are still there. You guys are talking about, I don't know if you guys are talking about team stuff or what, but man, I love it. I love seeing the chat moving over there. And if you're watching right now, if you're just hanging out or quote unquote lurking and you want to say hi, go for it. Lets me know as the broadcaster that we've got human eyes behind these numbers, not just bots. Ben McKenna there with the proverbial Simpson hello. We get that from Ben McKenna a lot. Catalyst saying it's too bad there isn't a little more slipstream pull in this game, and we'll see how things pan out in the next quote-unquote motorsport experience. That's how Chris Isaki, creative director, I think, if I'm getting his title correctly, that's how he's presenting it currently without them having officially announced what the next title is going to be. But who knows? They already talked about essentially the rubber meets the road aspect of the new Forza experience, the new motorsport experience, which talks to or speaks to new suspension handling, new aerodynamics with barometric pressure or atmospheric pressure factored in, which also impact the performance of the motors, the way that the tires interact with surfaces depending on the heat of the tire and the temperature of the road. I should say the temperature of the tire and the temperature of the road. That is going to come into play a lot more than we have seen in past Forza experiences. So a lot to learn. There is still a little grain of salt that you have to take with some of these conversations. But if we're getting talked to straight here with Turn 10 Studios, if they're being as transparent as we would hope them to be, then this bodes well for the future of the franchise, which hopefully will play out here in the next, well, I would say 12 months, but maybe even sooner, the next 10 to 11 months, as we head into the holiday season with the release of the Xbox Scarlet platform. Is going back to the racing action, we continue to hang out here with Craytrim. Let's go ahead and move to the front bumper, or at least the hood view here of Mesosphere's car as he makes the inside move on Scolsi for right now, but we've seen this back and forth happening, so we're not going to make too much of it. Corvid there in third position. LMP Fox way out into the distance. We can't even see him, much less Udakan, who is just taking a commanding lead in this race. And as we heard from Corbett earlier in this one, unless he puts one or two positions between him and Udakan, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to come away as the champion here in Season 31. But with so much racing left to go in this one. So many laps remaining. Can't count them out yet. You appreciate how much attention to detail the R&D team at Turn 10 seems to pay. I agree, and it's great to get Chris Asaki's point of view because I think he, in his position on the team, it provides a little bit more insight, or at least what he's able to express with us is a little bit more insight than we're used to hearing in terms of the physics that are at play. Maybe some of the mechanics down the line, we'll learn about that. So I, very much like you there, Catalyst, I am appreciative of it. We'll see how much of it translates to reality. Oh, and look at that. Corbin is way off, or excuse me, that's Cratrium, way off the pace there, coming into Maggots. And that gets Mesosphere into his rear right quarter panel. And now those three, Cratrium, Mesosphere, and, well, look at this. We've got AMS Storm gunning up through into 5th position, at least for now. He's triggered it there on the timing. He's going to run to the outside here through Lovefield. Mesa and Skolzy to the inside, and they go 3 wide, coming back up to the line. Now it's going to be bumper to bumper, the train of cars, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and even 8th back there with Audrex. Darkser saying, this is nuts. Darkser, how's it going? Good to see ya. If only our camera was a little bit pulled out, these replay views, for the most part, would be in a pretty good position. Unfortunately, we can't control how zoomed in or how zoomed out they are. We're going to make the most of it, and there goes Cratrium. Yet another mistake as he runs wide, coming out of Maggots. He's going to drop back to possibly 8th position if Audrex is able to get around him. And let's go ahead and turn to the Virtual Autosport instant replay for that first mistake that we saw Cratrium make back there on lap number 19. And perhaps my replay finger just not as fast as I thought it was there. And it looks like we may have lost or did not see the Cratrium piece of that. But Cratrium now back to 8th position as he's got Audrex. Audrex is no slouch there on the track. Although we would love to see him a little bit further up in the standings at the end of each race. The guy can own his territory here in the top 10, and he's doing exactly that, running in 7th right now behind Skolzy, who now sits behind Mesosphere and AMS Storm, who is now quite possibly our hard charger in this race. Darkser saying excited for the week. You're telling me. I got to bottle up some of this excitement and save it for Saturday. Otherwise, I'll be done by hour 3. No, pacing myself will be the key, and I think I can sort that out. And actually, we'll talk through that a little bit as we go later on into the broadcast. So, for a little bit more discussion about what things are going to look like here on Virtual Autosport during the Daytona 24, hang tight, and we'll talk a little bit about that as this action maybe starts to wane a little bit. If it doesn't, then we'll hold to it, and we'll get to the D24 stuff a little bit later on. But man, I'm ecstatic for it. I've never tried anything of this sort. The longest broadcast that I have hosted, I think, is maybe 3-4 hours hosted. And now our battle here from 3rd on back to 8th has started to space itself out a little bit. Everybody getting a little bit of breathing room. So while that's happening, let's go ahead and run through the order. It's AMS Udakan who runs up in front. Currently our leader on the leaderboard coming into today's race with 289 points in Season 31. Looking to take home the championship in this one if he can hold on all the way through. Then in second, it's going to be LMP Chicago, the newcomer here as of week number 4. Back behind them by a large margin, it's going to be DOR Corvid, the driver who's the only other driver who's in contention for the championship. Unfortunately, not in a good position right now. They're in 3rd position, and oh, there's a black screen. Hopefully we didn't lose anybody. Back behind Corvid, it's AMS Storm, who, again, is making his way. We saw Storm as far back as 11th, I do believe it was. Mesosphere there in 5th. Skolsey in 6th. Cratrium in 7th. Audrex is 8th. Slipstream in 9th. Fontang in 10th position. Fear the Fawn in 11th. DJ Hocus is 12th. Then from 13th on back to 19th, it's LSEM Chaos Fox, Joe Beardy, Slow Motion Fire, Modern Weapon, Born as Ghost, Randy's Gut, and Weiss Lancelot. A little love for our buddy Audrex as he follows behind Cratrium. You see Skolsey out there in front of him. Skolsey and Cratrium as far up as 3rd and 4th position have now dropped back a notch as AMS Storm, Meza, and Corvid hold on to the top 5 positions, at least for now. Coming up to that Silverstone Bridge, and let's go ahead and take a look at how things are looking here on Audrex's vehicle damage-wise, and by damage we mean the tire degradation and the fuel. You see fuel down to 46% left in the tank, 27% toward the back, actually 34% there on the rear right tire. Then it's 39 and 36 up toward the front with that 51% weight distribution, and that car carving into these corners, burning through that tire compound a little bit more up in the front, and as such will necessitate a pit stop for our drivers here in the finale of the Season 31 Forza Spec Racing Series. I'm going to go ahead and have Nightbot drop that link for you there once again, the reddit.com/r link. We'd love to see here in season number 32, which gets kicked off on February the 4th. So Catalyst or anybody out there who's thinking, hey, this looks pretty exciting, whether you would find yourself up front or more toward the back like myself, you are more than welcome to participate. The Season 32 car will be revealed in the next 2 weeks, and then the guys and gals of FM4, that's what they go by, will get the test and tune night going here in the off season with that week number 1 combo of races on February the 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll catch all the action live from start to finish from week 1 to week 5 here on Virtual Autosports. AMS Udakan will go ahead and give our leader a little bit of love here on the camera. Very simplistic design, but that's all you need, right? That's all you need as he gets around the corner here at Luffield. Gonna pass by the pit lane entry. And so at this point, you're thinking the leaders are starting to run through their mind what their strategy may have initially been. And I don't know that Udakan could have predicted such a sizable lead in this race. And so perhaps what might have initially been his strategy in this one might change depending on where he's got a gap between the back markers and his closest competitor there, which is LMP Dragon in second, who is just now getting onto the Wellington Straight. Let's go back to our pack of 5. It's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's looking like a It's looking like an interstate here as they all pick a lane, decide which approach they're going to have coming into Brooklands. It's going to be Skolsey to the inside, and he's looking very hot coming into that corner. Sure enough, mashing the brakes, able to bring all 2,367 pounds, not to a halt, but at least slow it down, keep himself from running off into the runoff area. And now there goes, looks like maybe Mesosphere. No, Mesosphere's there in fourth. Who was that was getting a little bit sideways? Couldn't quite make it out. Maybe it was Audrex. Back marker ghosting is disabled for this, I see then. I'm not aware of that unless the rules have changed here for the finale. Unfortunately, the organizer, and there goes Skolsey off the track. He's going to go ahead and find himself some tarmac out there and bring it back on relatively safely. Darts out in front of Cratrim to make the recovery. And now Skolsey running a little bit wide. And Cratrim's going to say, hey, yeah, you know that part there on Wellington? You darted out in front of me? I'm going to remind you that I'm right here behind you. Nice little friendly love tap there on the back bumper of Skolsey as they come back up to the line for the start of lap number 30 of 76 here in Season 31's finale of the Forza Spec Racing Series. It's been a mishmash of awesome racing, and then from time to time we'll get those races where it gets a little bit quieter midway through, and then it's a given of who's going to finish where toward the end. But that's what makes this league so dang exciting. You just don't know what you're going to get from week to week. And with those who guessed the car correctly in the guess the car aspect of the season, once the winner, the champion, has defined what the vehicle is going to be for the forthcoming season, then those who pick the car correctly get to choose the track. And so that's an element of surprise that you may not see in other seasons. Not to say that throws any sort of big-time wrench into the mix, because all the tracks here in Forza Motorsport 7, they're pretty intuitive. You get the vehicles out here, you do a little bit of testing, you get the car ready, and before you know it, you get the season underway. All the points wiped clean at the beginning, and if you're the one who comes away with the most at the end, you are the champion. There is one drop week factored in across the 5 weeks, and week number 5, because it is just one race, it is double the points. Force One saying you get so much, you get the replays and everything. This stream is so. Thank you, Force One. I appreciate that, and I do look forward to to bring all those features to the Daytona 24 so that we can cover as much of the Lobby A. I actually forgot to mention that we're covering the Lobby A action, which I would be so humbled, honored, and grateful to get to cover. Lobbies B, C, and D. Yes, there will be a D lobby for the D24 because it is a historic Daytona 24 that they've got going on in Tour this year. They've got so many drivers signed up that they are having to extend into a 4th lobby, and I would have been honored to cover any one of those, but here on Virtual Autosports, it's Lobby A that you get for 24 straight. I'm gonna cry. It's okay, though. It's a proven scientific fact. You load up on Dr. Pepper and Sour Patch Kids, and you're unstoppable. Don't at me. Down the Wellington Straight here on lap number 32. We continue to see how things pan out here from 3rd of Cratrim. Actually, Corvid. All the way back to 7th of Cratrim, and then back behind him is Audrex in 8th position. What a bundle of cars that we have here, and it has not let up one iota. Let's see how pit strategy starts to weigh in here. We're going to hang out with these folks for a little bit. We'll give you coverage of the other drivers as they start to head into pit lane. We've got another pack a little bit further back. That's going to make up, or it's going to be comprised of 9th, 10th, and 11th of Foontang, Fear the Font, and Slipstream. But as much as I would love to give everybody a chance to be on the broadcast, because these races come and go so quickly in an hour's time, hour and a half, we do want to make sure that we see what goes on here midway or mid-pack, and it's even a little bit further up than mid-pack. Of the 19 drivers who started, all 19 out there on the circuit. Skolsey, dare I say, makes a pass here at Luffield. He'll give it up for laughs, and then they'll go at it again next time through. 34 laps now underway here. And it was Corbin at the beginning of the race here, before the race got started, coming out of qualifying. He joined us in our driver's spotlight, and he said, hey, big ups to Modern Weapon and Slow Motion Fire for putting on the Forza Spec Racing Series. Folks, if you don't know the history of this series, it dates back to the Forza Motorsport 4 days, and Slow Motion Fire tells me that that's actually where they put the FM4 branding to this league, was back in Forza Motorsport 4 days. That didn't hold so well through 5, 6, and now 7. But that's who they are. That's their legacy, if you will. And we've got one driver who's turned in. Let's go ahead and see who that is. If it's one of our leaders, it is not. Udakan and Chicago remain out on the track. That's going to be our 18th place driver of Modern Weapon, who has gone into pit lane and will exit. And it's a very interesting exit here on the national circuit. Let's go there to Modern Weapon and see if he's able to do so uneventfully. It takes you out of Copse, so everybody gets through Copse okay, but then here you go. The AI relinquishes control to your car, and now coming up to Maggots, you are firmly in control of the steering and the acceleration, and no incident there. That's what we like to see. Forza Motorsport 4 will forever hold a special place in your heart. Mine too. Even though I'm more of the single-player racer, I adored the grid that was the campaign, or the career, if you will, of Forza Motorsport 4. It had such an eclectic array of races and cars that you got to go through. That's the one thing that I have as a single-player, as a solo gamer myself. I'm not big on the multiplayer because I'm just not that good. I adored Forza Motorsport 4 setup with all the different tick boxes. If you remember, it looked like, I don't know, it was very daunting to start out, and then they added more with DLC. And I just remember, though, getting through that career or single player mode, not effortlessly, but it was such a joy that it didn't feel like a burden. Unfortunately, Forza Motorsport 5, 6, and 7 has been a little bit less exciting for me, as we now see Skolsey heading into pit lane, making that tactical retreat from the 3rd through 8th place pack. And now we'll go back up to Cratrim here in 6th position, as he's got Mesa and Corvid out in front of him, and Mesa now is going to get around Corvid for 4th position. And now they're starting to close in on AMS Storm, who had a little bit of separation there. Storm, who just like a storm, clawed his way up to the front. Now quickly finding drivers in his rearview mirror. Let's go to AMS Storm and see if perchance there is an issue with that car. And that doesn't look to be the case, although you can see up there in the tires, that front left tire at 73%, doing these right-handed corners quite a bit. That's going to put it up there, yeah, about 10% higher than the front right, and then 40s toward the back. And we've got even another driver heading into pit lane, as Udakan, Chicago, AMS Storm, Mesa, Cratrium, Corvid remain on the circuit. It's going to be Audrex. Slipstream is in. And 17th place of Randy's Gut. I always feel dirty when I say that name. No offense, Randy. No offense. You had to be thinking of it when you created the gamer tag. You had to be thinking, man, somebody's going to be a little bit repulsed by this name. And it's me, the softie. Down the Wellington straight here as we watch Cratrium. He's got He's got Mesa out in front of him. Let's see if any of these drivers duck in. AMS Storm, they're in third. Now through Luffield. You spent over 12,000. Over 12,000, and there goes AMS Storm. He's going to go ahead and point the nose on in. Back behind him, it's going to be Mesosphere. Mesosphere is going to go and make a pit stop as well. So AMS Storm is out on the track. Actually, check that. Mesa, oh no, and we got a, no, Mesa is in. Pardon me, the timing is not completely updated in our mini map. So let's run through this again. It's Udacan in first. LMP Chicago, P2. It's Cratrium and Audrex, who are now 3 and 4, with Storm and Mesa into pit lane. And let's go ahead and move back up to Cratrium. No, let's go to Audrex, who's there in 4th, running in his highest spot so far, thanks to some of the drivers who have turned it in early, or at least have decided to go in at this point. With those tires wearing down out front and that fuel tank depleting quickly, everybody's going to have to make a stop. It's not a matter of if, but when. Bus DH. Bus DH with the follow. Bus, why do I feel like you followed before? Is this relationship coming full circle? Where you've done it once, you unfollowed, and now you've refollowed. SVR saying, Bus DH, who's that? Side eyes. Solar saying he's my Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition buddy. I know nothing about this. I know not what you speak of. Audrex now down the Wellington Straight. He has Cratrium out in front of him. At some point, these two have got to go in. Let's see the situation here. 13%. A lot less tire degradation here on Audrex's car, as he makes a nice inside move there on DJ Hocus. DJ Hocus doing exactly what we would ask of any driver who finds themselves as a back marker out here. You know your line through that corner. It's not going to be the inside as some of those lead lap cars come up on you. Take that outside line, let them go by without any incident, and then you continue to truck along. Find the driver that you compete more closely with, catch up to them, and make a run for that spot. Don't try to hold up anybody who's running in front. DJ Hocus doing exactly that, getting out of the way very, very nicely. Audrex, they're running in 4th. Let's go up to Udacan, who's running in 1st, and Udacan passing by pit lane entry, and I don't know if that was a purposeful decision, because it looked very, very crowded heading into pit lane. So we're going to hang out here with Udacan. He's got 11% left in the fuel tank, so could probably do another couple of laps. But at some point I'm thinking, better be safe than sorry. And get some new rubber wrapped around those 16-inch rims, BBS E55s. And Udacan, there he goes. He almost juked us. The camera don't lie, though. Let's go back to LMP Chicago. And Chicago has no choice, and probably a very good choice, because by the time they come back out, it looks like they'll still be out in front of the larger grouping of cars here that are starting to come now through Luffield, I think. Well, it looks like they may be a little bit short, and of course, the AI is going to do its AI things here at Forza Motorsport 7 and cause havoc. Bumper cars in pit lane, if you will. There comes Cratrium past the line here for the beginning of lap number 43. Cratrium will now, as he scoots on past Udacan momentarily, Cratrium can say he was leading this race on lap number 43. I'm guessing Udacan is going to make quick work of that change in position here, reclaiming P1 sooner rather than later. Audrex showing in 3rd right now. LMP Chicago now out of pit lane, coming out of Maggots. I say Randy's Guts name is a little repulsive, and then I spew out maggots, and that just flows right off the tongue, no problem, right? Here comes Chicago. Beautiful looking paint there. The Daytona 24. He had a plain Jane car there in week number 4, showing up for the first time here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Decided to adorn it a little bit here for the finale with that Daytona 24 livery. Virtual Autosports there on the back end in the license plate area. And yes, 24 hours of coverage of Lobby A right here on the Virtual Autosports channel, live this Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, all the way through 10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Let's go up to Mesosphere, who trails AMS Storm in third. And make no mistake here, they share the same paint scheme in terms of colors, but that's Mesosphere with the Lazarus logo on the back of the RS 500. One of the great livery artists here in the Forza Motorsport community. Doing it up for the Lazarus team in the paint shop. Udakan has reclaimed the #1 spot. LMP Chicago still riding in second. AMS Storm is third. Mesa in fourth. Cratrim in fifth. Corvid now in sixth position. Audrex in seventh. Skolsey there in eighth. Let's go to Skolsey. Modern Weapon, who helps out here with slow motion fire, running there in 17th position. And look at that, he's gonna give Skolsey a little run for his money here, a little back marker on lead lap car action, and they're gonna drag race it down the Wellington Straight. These drivers not able to adjust the gear ratio in the RS 500 because, well, they stuck to the original transmission, not upgrading it to the race variety. And as a matter of fact, these cars, they have the race intake, the race exhaust, the race camshaft, then it goes to the street pistons and compression, sport turbo, race brakes, race springs and dampers, allowing for that tuning of the suspension, the race front and rear sway bars, the race chassis reinforcement and roll cage that you see in every one of these cars in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Race weight reduction, still only bringing it down to 2,367 curb weight. The race clutch, race differential, it's a race tire compound with the multi-piece BBS E55s. Those are 16 inches. And 245 35s at all four corners. Let's go up to Audrex in 7th position. Catalyst there in the pit lane saying, if you get a chance, Virtual Autosports, you might take a look at my profile banner on Twitter. I followed you, so you shouldn't have to search. I recently made a livery for the number 92 Porsche RSR. Oh, I love the RSR. I love the RSR. I'll take a look at it at the end of the broadcast here. One of our drivers telling us, I think it was Fear the Fun, hoping for a little bit more of a racy, and not in the suggestive way, but the racy type car with a little bit more performance, a little bit more grip, maybe a little bit more downforce. Purpose-built race car. Who knows? Everybody's at the mercy of the champion going into the next season. You win the championship, you get the bragging rights, but then you also get to select what car it is everybody's going to drive in the upcoming season. So that's just one of the ways that the championship or the series gives back to you for competing. And then, of course, even if you don't win the championship, see how much you can increase your skill week after week, race after race. Pair up with somebody out here on the track. There's no team point system, but you definitely find yourself someone that you compete more closely with, and maybe just wager a little friendly bet of I can beat you, and maybe it's something like, hey, if I beat you, you've got to put this little graphic on your car. You got to put a little what do they call the things? Vinyl. You got to put a little vinyl on your car. Giving some drivers some ideas, I think. Huracan looks to run away with the race and the championship here in Season 31, which was still up for grabs coming into this final one of Season 31. LMP Chicago in second, AMS Storm in third, Mesosphere in fourth. It's not until you go back to fifth position with DOR Corvid, or Crimson as we formerly knew him, that you find the other driver who was in the running for the championship. Even if he doesn't come out with a top 3 finish and on the heels of Huracan on the leaderboard, a very, I would at least say, successful season for Corvid. Kratrium in 6th, Audrex in 7th, Skolsey in 8th, Funtang in 9th, Slipstream is 10th, then it's Fear the Fun, Joe Beardy, Chaos Fox, DJ Hocus, and Slow Motion Fire back there 13th, 14th, and 15th, and a nice little three-way battle between those guys, and they've got a lap traffic vehicle in the mix. And as always, folks, thank you so much for tuning in here on a Tuesday evening, or perhaps it's a Wednesday morning, a very early Wednesday morning for you all across the pond, or maybe it's even midday if you find yourself in the land down under, and just unimaginable amount of destruction down there in the great country of Australia, and always thinking of those folks. I wish I could do more. We'll have a little bit of a shout out to some of the teams of the Daytona 24 that are trying to make stuff happen there in recognition of what's going on down under. And we've got a car that is wide coming out of Brooklands, and I think that was one of our lap traffic cars, perhaps just scooting out of the way. But yeah, something to maybe bring a little bit more awareness as much as we possibly can within the Forza community. And wherever anybody can, give back in the way of donations to the victims in the form of people and the animals, and just generally the community all across the country, the continent of Australia. There is just unspeakable destruction down there. It's just crazy, and so for all of our friends who race with us, who call Australia home, and of course anybody who may be watching, like I said, at the very least, recognize the hardship that you all are experiencing right now, and hopefully, with any luck, Mother Nature will prevail in the form of precipitation and bring those fires to an end sooner rather than later. Corvid here in 5th place, cutting through and out of Copse, coming up to Maggots here in the 53rd lap of 76, about 24 or 23 laps remaining, somewhere thereabouts. Catalyst saying, actually, I'm going to slide the broadcast to screen 2 and start up Forza Motorsport 7 and do some livery editing. Sometimes you just get that bug. I can't get it. I tried so hard, and this probably just speaks to my lack of creativity with a crayon, with a paintbrush, heck, even with a pencil. The livery editor just befuddles me. Yes, I threw befuddles into a broadcast here. What folks like Mesosphere and the team over at PTG and Force One, who not only is an exceptional racer, but then also does a lot of the livery designing for his team, it just boggles my mind what folks have been able to accomplish with shapes. Shapes, and I know shapes are the foundation of creating a drawing, an artistic piece. You put together shapes, and soon the details start to come into play, and before you know it, you've got a piece of art. Well, a circle and some sticks, and that resulting in a stick figure is just as far as I could possibly get. I am hopeless in the livery editor. I know my place, though. That's the beauty, is once you have accepted where you're good and where you're not good, it makes life that much more enjoyable. I can do A, but I can't do B. Don't ever try to do B. Whatever B may be. In this case, art design. And yes, for those of you who are watching our broadcast, this isn't something that you can just hop into Photoshop and say, hey, I'm going to pull over some logos from the internet, drop them on, add a few little more design elements, artistic elements to call it a unique livery, and boom, ta-da, you're done. No, these are designs that were created from shapes. And until you get into livery editor and see what it is I'm talking about, it is very hard to make out what it is I'm saying, but just trust me when I say that these guys and gals are genuine artists of a virtual variety. And I have no doubt that they probably can put pen to paper in the real world as well and make some truly magnificent art pieces, but then realizing that in the virtual world of motorsport here on the cars, and how they come up with these unique and sometimes replica designs is just astonishing. It really is. Being confident is a skill, not a state of mind. No, it's not. All right, folks, let's run through the field. We got to do it. AMS Udakan continues to dominate the field out here in P1. LMP Chicago in second. AMS Storm in third. Mesosphere, they're in fourth position. Corvid in fifth. Cratrim is sixth. Skolsey in seventh. Eighth is Drex. Ninth is Funtang. And oh no! Stand by. SVR Solar saying, oh dear. We got this. We got this. Big Ben. Ah! There it is. And we're back at it. How many liveries did we lose? That's the worst thing about falling out of a lobby, is that you lose the liveries. We see DJ Hocus there in 12th. And, of course, we've got to wait for the timing to come back as well, as everything syncs up for us. LMP Chicago out there in front. AMS Storm, then Mesa and Corvid, Cratrium, Skolsey, Adrex, AMS Udakan. That is not correct. He is not in 8th position. So we got to wait for the timing to come back at it, and we'll be good. For now, let's go to AMS Udakan, and there it goes. The timing has reclaimed itself, and we've lost Udakan's design. Oh no, Solar. No. LMES forgot an interview, or they had an interview going, but no sound. Oh, that's the worst, because as the commentator, you can accept defeat in knowing that everything you just said has been lost. But when it's in an interview, you know that you just had a conversation. What was supposed to be a meaningful conversation all just went to waste. And that's always disappointing, especially for the driver. You're kind of hoping, you're like, oh, I hope they don't go back and watch this and notice that they didn't say anything. And then you realize that they did watch it and they didn't hear themselves, and they're saddened. You let them down. To err is human, right? That's the phrase, and it happens to us all, broadcasters, in one form or another, no matter how professional or amateur you may be. There's those moments that you just wish you could take back. I will inevitably, Ben, Darkser, fair warning, I will inevitably have one of those moments. And I chuckle inside saying one. I will have one of those moments in our 24-hour cast. The 24 Hours of Daytona, the the Online Racing Association's D24, coming this Saturday, January 18th, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, all the way to 10 a.m. Eastern on the 19th. Watch green to checker coverage of Lobby A right here on Virtual Autosport Live on Twitch TV. A lot of separation now. AMS Storm in third, Mesa in fourth, DOR Corvid fifth. Let's go to Cratrim, who is on the heels of Corvid. Big Ben saying, it's okay. Our old streamer used to get up in the middle of the stent and leave his chair on stream. Yeah, those are always the best, too. The chair streams? Heck yeah. I don't even have to worry about that because I don't have a camera. So, for all you guys know, I'll be like doing calisthenics when the mic is turned off, because that's what I do. I do calisthenics, just randomly. Whatever those are, anyway. Exercise. Why don't I just say exercise? Cratrium. I'm trying to sound like I actually do that by saying that. It's really just. I'll step away from the mic, go to the restroom, grab myself a beverage, and get back at it. Here comes, look at that. It's going to be Cratrium to the inside. What a move there on Corvid. And then here comes the old switcheroo attempt. Corvid now to the outside. He wants that position back. Give me P5. Sparks showing there. As the dramatic way of Forza showing you that the vehicles are making contact. And let's go ahead and turn on over to the Virtual Autosports Instant Replay with Cratrim making that nice move there on Corvid. Although Corvid's going to reclaim that spot just for now. And that's going to allow Skolsey to close in 7th position. So our three-way battle here, 5th through 7th, starting to reimagine itself. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that was Solar? Was it Solar who did that? If you guys aren't following SVR Solar here on Twitch, do that. Broadcast his almost pretty much unparalleled driving ability. broadcasts that here on Twitch and so much more. He does a variety of games, even outside the racing genre. So if you're looking for that amount of variety, he's somebody to check out. You're a bad driver, yeah. In what world, Solar? I don't think anybody would vouch for that. Here comes Udakan, now down in Wellington. We're not looking at it right now, but I see it here on his little spec on the map. And that separation between he and LMP Chicago just continues to grow. AMS Storm now with a sizable lead here on Meza. Cratrium and Skolsey have now lost sight of each other. And actually, look at that. There they are, 5, 6, and 7 with Corvid in 7th. Audrex in 8th. Funtang in 9th now. Funtang in the top 10. Slipstream into 10th. Solar saying basically Tora didn't have any streamers, so I used to do everything whilst racing as well. And that's, see, to be brutally honest, that was like my, that was my moment where I'm like, okay, a lot of these guys love to race. A lot of these guys who are broadcasting the Tora events love to race. And what a, I'm going to say burden. They would probably use another word of opportunity or maybe a benefit of being a racer is that they get to broadcast and talk about their experience out on the track and maybe that of others as we get a little bit of some oddities here, a little bit of bugs in the matrix. The cars jolting back and forth. But then again, for somebody like myself who's not a competitive racer, I'm like, well, then this just makes sense. Why have the guys who want to focus on the racing, but then maybe they like to do the broadcasting, but at the same time, they can only do so much of that. You can only do so much of the racing and then the broadcasting. That's going to be tiresome. Let me help out a little bit. So, to the folks over at Tora, Ben, Darkser, Skolsey, Butler, I appreciate the opportunity. Here we are, lap number 66. It's about to be 67 as Udakan will trip the timer there, or the lap counter. There it goes. 10 laps remaining here in the finale of Season 31 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. For those of you who have been hanging tight throughout the event, much appreciated. As we've had some very close action, and then it's come off of that a little bit. Although things do look exciting here and promising. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. More so 5th, 6th, and 7th with Corvid, Cratrium, and Skolsey. Fawn saying last leg, let's go. Fawn, good seeing you again. Iceland! The entire country of Iceland is just followed. Okay, so Greenland is icy and Iceland is green. Good to know. It's a good little what do they call those things that help you know what is what. Iceland, thank you for the follow. And I don't know what else to say except for thank you. I'm curious if Iceland is actually from Iceland. And of course, don't feel obligated to answer that question there in the pit lane. And man, things are just wigging out here toward the end. Check if Cratrium has engine damage. That's a good question. Cratrium running back there in 5th position. And we have seen some of our drivers end up with a little bit of transmission damage, and by a little bit, 100%. In this case, it does not appear that Cratrum has any damage. Granted, there is a bug, as some of us very well know, where the damage doesn't show appropriately. However, it does appear Cratrum is A-OK. He's got Skolsey back behind him in 6th position, and between them a couple of lap traffic vehicles. You see DJ Hocus there, and Slow Motion Fire up ahead in 15th and 16th, inversely. Comes Skolsey. Gonna try to make a run at Cratrum once again. Lap number 70 for Udakan. Everybody's still halfway through lap 69. You guessed Skolsey just found his groove, and yeah, it really has been a lot of back and forth. We've seen some of these drivers be on their game, on point, around the track, and then I would say Cratrum more than anybody else getting off the track, at least from what we've been able to see from our perspective. Although managing a top 5 for right now. There goes DJ Hocus wisely to the inside. We've seen that from him all race long, being very cognizant of his position on track. And there goes Skolsey, going to run wide out of Kopse. Underneath the Silverstone Bridge signage, and into Brooklands they go. Here for the 71st time of 76. Stay tuned, folks, as we get through and to the end of this race. We'll bring some of our drivers, those who are happy to jump into the driver's spotlight and have a word with us. It's one of my favorite parts of the broadcast, as I mentioned earlier. It's a great opportunity for our drivers to have a word with us and tell us what things look like from their perspective, what they thought of their finish. Maybe they'll have some things to say about some of their counterparts out there, although we like to think that everybody's racing fairly clean out there and no need to call anybody out, but you never know. And what I would like to say too is, even though in this low visibility league, but very competitive and a very respectable league, it's a great opportunity for those of you who are perhaps wanting to pursue maybe a semi-pro or pro level career, if you will, in esports racing, to practice your interview skills. It gives me a great chance to practice mine on the other side of the mic here, and take it for what you will, but what I say is it gives you a chance to maybe build up your brand a little bit, give yourself some recognition. As you've seen throughout our Twitch chat, all throughout the broadcast, we've got any number of folks here watching, listening, and if they like what they see and like what they hear, you just never know when they might reach out to you and say, hey, you interested in joining a team? And that could be the step-off point to something that you were looking forward to, that you were hoping for. And there goes Skolsey, again, running hot there into Brooklands around Modern Weapon. And now he's got a contest here with Slow Motion Fire is Born as Ghost up ahead of him. It's that Chia Pet car of Slow Motion Fire, and Skolsey not liking this, as he wants to get back up there with Meza as much as he can, although even after he gets past the lap traffic, the back markers here, he's got a lot of distance to cover. As a matter of fact, he's probably more so hoping to get away from lap traffic so that he can get away from Cratrum, and we've got somebody who's skidding off the track back behind them. That's going to be, look like maybe that was 8th place of Corvid. Ooh, Corvid. What has gone wrong for Corvid, who no damage to that car from what we can tell, but now has fallen out of the top 5. And he did mention that he plans to drop into the driver's spotlight, so we'll see what was amiss here in this finale. But with Udakan's race going so right, you just had to be running absolutely perfect in this one to have a chance, and I don't know that that even would have worked. It was Modern Weapon, says Ben. Okay. Might have been. Unfortunately, with the lack of liveries now, after we fell out of the lobby and jumping back in and some of the liveries didn't load, making it a little bit more difficult to ID some cars when I can't see the tags up above. Here comes Chaos Fox now out in front of Skolsey. And Chaos Fox not having the run that he would like, I imagine. And our leader, AMS Udakan, coming up to the start-finish line for the final time in this race. Well, not for the final time, for the penultimate time, getting the white flag next time by for what would have been a green and black AMS car has now converted. It's like a color change car as it goes to plain white, and Udakan now on the final lap here in season number 31. It's been a good one all the way through from week 1 on into the finale here at Silverstone. Clear skies, no threat of rain whatsoever for all 76 laps, and it's been a beaut, and I cannot wait to see what is in store for season 32, and I cannot wait to see who of you will be out there on the track. We got very, very close here in season 31 with having a full grid of cars. Let's get that full grid. I'm rooting for it every single season, and across the line they go. It's going to be Skolsey in 5th, Cratrium unable to get around him in 6th position. And actually, check that, those guys with the white flag flying. So we'll hang out here as Cratrium is going to make a run. And oh, he's got lap traffic out in front of him, and that's going to have him going into the back end of Skolsey. Actually braking quite well to avoid contact, but that only meant that that was going to send his car into a bit of a tizzy, and now Cratrium a good 5 or 6 car lengths back behind 5th place of Skolsey, and that will not make Cratrium happy, as you might guess. And so Udakan across the line in 1st, Chicago in 2nd, AMS Storm. Here comes Mesosphere. And now we're riding on board here with Cratrium, and he's just going to have to settle for 6th. Back behind him in 7th, and very close, is Audrex. Well done, Audrex. 8th position goes to Corvid. 9th is Funtang. Slipstream in 10th. Joe Beardy in 11th. Fear the Fun in 12th. Chaos Fox is 13th. Born as Ghost in 14th. Slow Motion Fire in 15th. DJ Hocus, Randy's Gut, Modern Weapon, and Weiss Lancelot. We lost nobody. Hey, look, D24 Traffic Management says LMP Dragon. Yeah. Things obviously could get crazy during the 24 hours of Daytona when you've got 2 vehicle divisions, GTLM, and then Daytona prototypes, the Ford and the Chevy, out there on the track. So we'll see how everybody fares. Not just in the first not in the first 2 hours, not in the first 6 hours, or even 12 hours. All 12 hours of coverage, and we'll talk a little bit about it more, because what I was wanting to get to, I didn't get to, and we need to talk about some of the things that you can expect during the broadcast. So hang tight. We're going to talk to some of our drivers here post-race, and as I go over there, nobody has yet jumped into the queue for interview section, but they will. They most certainly will. And as soon as Slow Motion Fire has a chance to check off everybody's finishing position, then AMS Udakan will make the victory lap around Silverstone National. Again, finishing order, Udakan, Chicago. Then it's Storm and Mesa. And I have to write this down myself, otherwise our post-race results will be no good for us. Skolsey, Cratrium in 6th. Audrex and, Corvid somewhere along the line. I missed it. That's my foul. Corvid dropping back to P8. Back behind him in the top 10. 9 and 10 is Funtang and Slipstream. In 11th is Joe Beardy, then Fear the Fun. Fear the Fun, we'll probably talk to him. I'm guessing not too pleased with that finish. I could be wrong. Chaos Fox in 13th. 14th is Born as Ghost. Then Slow Motion Fire. Then it's going to be DJ Hocus, Randy's Gut. And in 18th and 19th, Modern Weapon and Weiss Lancelot. There you go, folks. That's your finishing order for the 5th and final week of the Forza Spec Racing Series. And wow, there's nobody in the driver's interview section. You guys go there. You know you need to get there. You're not doing the final lap here on... Oh, actually, I checked that. They will be doing the final lap. A little bit of a send-off here. It's a mainstay in the Forza Spec Racing Series. They'll do a formation finish. Solar saying, well done to Udakan. I'm going to bed. Have a good night, guys. You too there, Solar. A good morning to you because, yes, it is... It is starting to creep into daybreak in your neck of the woods. Udakan going to go ahead and throw some donuts in and around the Brooklands area. And as we move up toward the front here, our drivers again in a formation finish. And by a formation, I mean the most discombobulated mess you've ever seen. all in good fun. All in good fun. And there you go, folks. That's how this one comes to a conclusion. And let's see here. Let's get the audio turned off here on the game. And there you go. Our banner image for the season. And let's go ahead and loop in Mesosphere, who finished in P4 here in the final race. And Meza, we know you were sporadic here through the season. Fortunately, you were able to get in here for the finale and finished quite well. A nice bit of battling there for a while before you were able to get into the clear in the final few laps. What do you think of the Silverstone finale?
I enjoyed that immensely. The 4, 5, sometimes 6-way battle for last podium spot was intense. That was a lot of fun. It seemed to get spread apart a little bit after the pit stops, which was a bit of a shame. But I think people coming in and the car was tricky on cold tires. And so actually those that came in kind of latest got out in front. Unfortunately, with only 4 corners on the track, or at least 4 proper corners, it was hard to make up time. Easy to lose it. So, but yeah, great race. I enjoyed what racing I got to do with the car. I'm glad people found it popular. I chose it because it's one of my personal favorites, so I'm glad everybody else liked it too.
Yeah, that's right. There should have been a footnote there on my mention that Mesosphere was not here with us through the entirety of season 32, but you were the season 31, but you were the season 30 champion picking the RS 500. You had mentioned that folks had great fun with the car. You picked it for various reasons, but ultimately, in terms of the races that you were able to get in on, how successful was the car for you?
It did me proud, actually. I got a few podiums. I came fourth then, and I'll be honest, as far as I'm concerned, that's as good as a win when you got the likes of AMS in the lobby. So, yeah, I'll take that. I'm very impressed by Chicago's pace. I'm looking forward to future seasons racing against them. But yeah, against the AMS boys, getting anywhere near a podium, yeah, that's as good as a win you'll get most of the times.
And we're getting another little glitch in the matrix here, so I'm going to stand by.
Hello?
This is just as frustrating for me as it is, I know, for you all as the viewers, and then, of course, our folks here on the microphone in the interview section for us, and it looks like we may have recovered. There goes Discord.
Yeah, it sounds it.
There we go. All right, we're back to good. Man, I don't know. I thought I had it all sorted out. But talking with Mesosphere here in the Driver's Spotlight, capping a Season 31 here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Might we anticipate seeing you back here for Season 32? Not knowing yet what the car is going to be.
Fingers crossed. If I'm well, I'll race because I enjoy racing with the FM4 crew. It's usually a lot of fun. It's not going to depend much on the car because I drive all sorts. I race minivans, I race Isettas. I mean, anything, in Forza is probably going to be better to drive than those. But yeah, it's mostly going to be on whether I'm well. I did not like just doing part of a season. I liked, if I commit, I tried to commit to all of it. So it did not sit well with me having to miss races, but I had to. So next season, it'll depend how I feel at the start of it. If I'm feeling good, great, I'll race. If I'm not feeling good, I'll probably sit that season out and just spectate. See if you want a co-commentator or something. We'll do something.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Absolutely.
But yeah, like I say, it's going to depend on how I feel at the start of the season.
Definitely the competitor in Mesosphere there saying if I can't get in through the whole season, then I'm going to go ahead and spectate. And we love it when our drivers, if they take a break from the season, coming in here and rooting on somebody else or just seeing what happens out there on the track. All right, Mesosphere. So any shout outs, anything you'd like to say to some of our viewers out here before we wrap things up with you?
Shout out to you mainly. Great broadcast quality all season long. It's been fabulous watching the VODs after the race. Otherwise, thanks to all the viewers for coming and supporting us. It's been, kind of a great series, and it's nice to see it being watched and people enjoying the battling. It's been a really good season for that.
You bet. You bet there, Meza and Meza saying, hey, thanks to me, but, really thanks to all the drivers, because without them, I would be broadcasting absolutely nothing, as you might expect. So I love the fact that Slow Motion Fire and crew have been so welcoming all throughout the process. And as I'm sitting here, I'm trying to get somebody else into the driver's spotlight, although my click and drop is just not working for me there. And there we go. Now we've got him. Going to go ahead and jump him to the front of the line. AMS Udakan coming away with the win here in Season 5 by a sizable margin and going to pick up the championship here in Season 31. What do you think of your appearance here?
I think it's gone very well. He's coming in as technically an AM, I guess. So winning is it's not bad at all.
I'd have to check with Slow Motion Fire how many folks with that amateur designator, and I say that with air quotes because you are by no stretch of the imagination an amateur in the world of Forza, but you were here in the series, and to show up and then make it happen with the win, that's quite incredible.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like, the entire season's been fun since I turned up. Obviously, like, the racecraft and the drivers that have been involved have been incredible. Obviously, with like the mismatch of pace through the field, it's definitely made some races a challenge. Obviously, with lapping, but everyone's got a lot of respect when it comes to being lapped. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's a good endorsement there for anybody who's curious about joining the FM4. The driver's pretty respectable and respectful, I should say. That's the word I'm looking for in being aware of where they are on the track. Udakan, we've seen some closer battles for the top spot in various races here in Season 31. This race was not the case. What do you attribute your commanding lead to here in the finale out at Silverstone?
I think mainly knowing the track. I think I turned up with 3 laps of practice under my belt, and I just drove and hoped, really.
That's
And it turned out all right.
Yeah, that's great. And lap traffic out there, as you mentioned, everybody was looking really good. So with that being said, once you found out where you were on the track, did you stick to your original pit strategy, or did you alter it a little bit, taking into account with where you were and where everybody else was out there on the circuit?
Oh, I just carried on until the front tires were just like, no, you're not going to turn anymore. So
Yeah.
I was like, now it's time to pit.
Yeah. Okay, and inquiring minds really want to know, anybody who's interested in season 32, can you give us a hint? I know Slow Motion Fire would rather you not tell us what it's going to be, but maybe a hint at what you're leaning toward as far as the vehicle for season 32.
I'm not going to give any major hints away, but I can say it's definitely going to be an interesting choice, something that's not been seen here before.
Yeah, that leaves a lot of options on the table there, Udakan. That doesn't specify very well for us.
Gotta leave it a mystery.
Okay, fair enough. I tried my best, everybody. I tried my best to get something out of them. Udakan, the Alien Motorsport team, obviously folks are familiar with their participation in the latest Forza Racing Championship. Could you give us maybe a preview of what's ahead for the team?
I think the team's main focus now is Le Mans Esports, obviously with the Pro Series, which is obviously our main focus at the moment. I mean, with the new spring announcement for Forza Racing Championship, hopefully, if it's maybe invite only again, I don't know. Obviously, we don't know the format. Maybe we get into that again. I'd love to sort of show what we can do again, but I guess we have to wait and see.
Catalyst Patient Zero in the chat is saying, Van, confirm or deny. Can you give us at least something on that one?
I can neither confirm or deny.
Not even on the van. Okay. All right, fair enough, Udakan. Any last words maybe to your team or any of our viewers here tonight?
If anybody's watching and hasn't signed up yet, what are you doing? Come race for season 32.
A second great endorsement from one of our drivers, and now season 31 champion. Udakan, it's been a pleasure watching your race. We do hope to see you back for season 32, and appreciate you dropping into the driver's spotlight.
Thank you very much.
All right, and now speaking of exceptional pace, unable to beat that of Udakan, but still a very, very fine finish there in P2. We've got LMP Chicago. You were a little uncertain about, well, actually, no, I take that back. You were pretty good with where you qualified there in the qualifying session, but man, that was quite an eventful race, it seemed, after you were able to get up there into P2.
Yeah, it was kind of a boring one because I had Huracan in front of me, just running away, and then I had to wait until the end to see that Storm was catching up after the first pit stop.
Yeah. Udakan had no issues whatsoever with lap traffic, and oh my gosh, I'm seeing red again on the frames, and it looks like it's back. Everything pretty smooth sailing for you in terms of getting around the back markers?
In some cases, yes, but in other cases, I felt as if the back markers still tried to fight with me, although they were roughly about a second a lap slower than me.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course a learning opportunity, a learning moment for everybody out there on the track. Even though those of you on the quick pace, I guess it's one of those situations where it's like, all right, let's see what happens and how we have to deal with this. Looking ahead to season 34, and I know we talked about this, or season 34. I'm jumping ahead a few seasons, but looking ahead at season 32, I know we talked about this earlier. What would you say now that you've raced three races here in the Forza Spec series? What would you say is your take on the series, and what do you say to anybody who's contemplating on being out here with you all on the circuit?
It's a pretty good series to get used to the running of the fast guys and to actually get to tune the cars yourselves. As some of the other guys in the lobby were saying, that they've actually gotten faster with racing with the faster people.
Yeah, that's a great point, is that if you're trying to chase down faster drivers, it's amazing how quickly you pick up pace, because you are chasing them. You may not ever catch them, but you do chase them. LMP Chicago, any words that you have for the viewers, maybe for the LMP team here tonight?
Not really, just got to rest up and then get ready for the 24 hours on Saturday.
Nice. I like it. What I think I've seen it in the entry list, but tell us what vehicle your team has opted for, and maybe who you have around you helping out with the stents.
So my entry decided upon out of all of the cars for GTLM, we've picked the Corvette. And I threw out an idea like a week before the car list was announced that we should do a Force India themed livery because Force India died off on its own. And off of the pictures that I posted into both this Discord and the Tour Discord, a bunch of people actually did like what I did with the Corvette.
Nice. Well, we can't wait to see it out there on the track. And of course, all 24 hours. So we'll see the various folks who take the helm of that Corvette and get around the track. Chicago, thank you so much for joining us here in the Driver Spotlight. Great job here at Silverstone. We do hope to see you in the future.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Cool, calm, and collected. The proverbial cool, calm, and collected phrase that adequately, or more than adequately, defines, I guess. I don't know what I'm looking for, but yeah, that's Chicago through and through. And now let's go ahead and turn to Corvid, where things there toward the latter part of the race took a turn for the worse, finishing back there, if I'm seeing things correctly, in P8, back behind Drex. You mentioned during the pre-race or the interview before the race got started after qualifying that you had to make some leaps and bounds over Udakan to even get a championship here, but I'm guessing you did not see a PA finish in your future.
Yeah, so there's a combination of things. The big reason I was so far down is due to a technical issue on my end. I was having some hangs with the Forza application that would freeze my car in place, and it would resume me behind people I was previously in front of. And I had been driving the car incorrectly the first half of the race, using a couple of gears that weren't ideal for the car's power band. But after that was sorted, I was down about where I have been time-wise for the rest of the season.
Okay. And I don't know, maybe give us a little bit of insight for those who are more spectator-ish than racer-ish. What is it about the when you're driving and your gear selection, what is it that you learn, especially across the span of a 76-lap race, that you go, you know what, if I change up a little bit here, I'll probably be better off? What is it that gives you that indication?
So this is a performance-built vehicle. It has a gearbox that was designed specifically for the amount of power it was putting out at stock. Since we didn't swap the gearbox, we were kind of stuck in that inoptimal gearing for our higher power. So there were some interesting gearing choices that needed to be made, especially in the first turn and the hairpin towards the end of the lap here, where you needed to be a gear higher than you probably would have expected. It threw me off a bit the first half of the race, and then someone asked which gears they should be using, and that's when I learned I was vastly incorrect.
Interesting. I don't know. I would be completely ignorant to all of that, and I'd be thinking, man, I'm doing okay. I'm just not fast. That's the only problem. But then to recognize that and make an adjustment mid-race, that's quite particular in being able to ID that and make a change, but then peculiar that you have that innate ability to recognize it and then make that change. Corvid, looking ahead maybe to season 32, Udacon's not going to give us any insight or any tips on what the next car is going to be, but we hope to see you back, because this battle up front has just been remarkable to watch, you being a big part of that.
I definitely plan on coming back, although I am somewhat scared of what Huracan might have chosen for next season.
I know, he's saying it's unique, and he would not confirm nor deny from Catalyst that it was a van. So that gets the wheels turning. Corvid, any last words from you here this evening?
I just agree with your frustration on getting info out of him.
We've
been trying for interview, and we've got nothing. He's a steel door. So
no kidding.
Thank you for broadcasting this season. It's been immense driving from everyone.
It has. It's been a fun season, and I know I keep saying this, and probably people are thinking, "Gosh, you're just using that to bolster like the idea of how good the series is." It really is getting better from season to season to season. I can only imagine how good it started in season 1, but now to come this this far in season 31 is just magnificent, and season 32 does not look to disappoint whatsoever. Corbin, thank you so much for all your not only participation out on the track, but in here in the driver's spotlight. I know people appreciate that, and we'll see you in season 32.
Yeah, definitely. See you in a few weeks.
Alrighty. Yeah, a few weeks indeed. February the 4th is when things get kicked off. And again, once that car has been ID'd and they come up with the configuration in terms of what upgrades you have to put to that car, they will get things going with some test and tune nights, and then out on the track on February 4th for 2 races there in week number 1. And now we go to AMS Storm. AMS Storm, let me see. I take a look at my sheet here, getting a P3 finish. Man, you were in the thick of it in the battles from 4th on back to 8th, but then you were able to eke out even another spot up to P3 there, back behind Chicago, who was probably just a mirage on the distance, but you had some pretty good pace.
Yeah, I decided to have a bit of fun in that race. Kind of let Kieran and Corvid battle out of the front, not really kind of interfere with that title fight. So turn 1, I dropped myself to the back of the grid, just, give myself a wee challenge, have some fun.
You say a little bit of fun. My idea of fun would have been disastrous for me. That would have put me all the way back to the back of the pack, but you find yourself in the top 3 still in having fun. Mesa, who has been uber competitive despite not being in the season in its entirety. You had Skolsky back there, Cratrium, Audrex. If you do indeed show up in season 32, you've got your work cut out for you as well.
Definitely, we're a long way from the season 24 or 25 that I won. We're a long way from that now with these lobbies. It's getting quite sweaty.
And Udakan, who had such a great race, and we're talking with the AMS Storm here in the driver's spotlight. Udakan had a great race out here at Silverstone, just left everybody in his dust. Would you say that maybe if Udakan plans on racing in season 32, that you're maybe going to look for a change in I guess, command? You're going to look for him to fall back and then you move forward?
I think it'll be interesting. It'll be very car dependent. But Huracan's, he's quick in pretty much anything though, so I really wouldn't put it past him to take the next season as well if he decides to compete.
Maybe go back to back. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I didn't know if maybe the AMS guys, you're like, hey, let's share the wealth here. Let's give everybody a chance here in the AMS team. But I appreciate the fact that maybe you guys are like, no, it's when it's in a series like this, it's every man for himself.
I think we're both far too competitive for that. Like if we're up there, we're both fighting each other. There's no.
Very cool. Well, we love to see the AMS guys duke it out again in season 32. AMS Storm, tell us. I mean, we heard from Udakan saying that the Le Mans Esport series is very much in view for him. What about yourself? Where might we find Storm apart from FM4?
Exactly the same as Huracan. I'm part of the Le Mans Esports team. Hopefully when Forza RC gets announced, I'm looking to compete in that again this year. Brilliant experience last year, so hopefully we'll see.
Yeah, a whole new experience for everybody there in the Forza Racing Championship, going to the team format, and what new concept they'll come up with for the next season here in the spring, we'll just have to find out. AMS Storm, any parting words from you?
Just congratulations to Kieran Huracan for taking this championship. Obviously very well deserved with how he drove all season. Congratulations to Corbett as well on a really strong season as well. Hopefully see those guys again.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, this is really exciting stuff, and not only to have the very competitive drivers, but then everybody on back. When we get a chance, we put our camera back there to see everybody and how they're faring out on the track. And then, of course, again, I'm making I'm on my podium, and I'm trying to advocate for it as much as possible. If we can get ourselves a full grid in season 32, at least for one race, I would say that's awesome, mission accomplished. And then who's going to get the bragging rights and win the championship and then pick the car for season 33. But hey, getting too far ahead of myself, because yes, that season 32 getting kicked off on February 4th. head on over there to the reddit.com/r/fn4 page. No, not all the information is there for Season 32, but it will be eventually. And after Udakan confirms the car with Slow Motion Fire, they'll get the spy shots, if you will, taken. You guess what that car is, and you've got to guess in the Reddit forum. You guess what that car is, and then you get to pick one of the tracks for Season 32. That's a fun way to play as a viewer. Maybe you're even a driver who's looking to contend in Season 32 and be a part of the fun. Great way to get in there and be a part of the community right out the gate. And then the board is clean. The points are wiped away, and everybody has their shot at the championship. One drop week, so if there is a week in that Season 32 where you're unable to participate, well, if you can make it in for the other 4 weeks, they'll drop that lowest week and count those 4 toward your top 4, and then, of course, the total points that you have. We'll get those points up on Twitter as soon as Slow Motion Fire has calculated them all, and made sure that they're official. Then we'll get those posted here maybe tomorrow, I'm thinking, versus later on this evening. Of course, if you go over to the reddit.com page, you can get in there, and as soon as he's updated them, then they're all set. They're ready to go. Catalyst saying, just joined the subreddit 5 minutes ago. Awesome. And hopefully we'll see Catalyst out on the track. Catalyst saying, hey, I didn't know there was even league racing still happening in Forza Motorsport 7. Yes, I would say it's alive and well. It's maybe not in its heyday like it would have been several months in to the release of the title, but it still has quite a following, and you can find other organizations in addition to the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing season or Spec Racing series to be a part of, and they definitely welcome you. But that's not all. Yes, I said there are other leagues, there are other associations, and that is to include the illustrious, the very well-known and prominent league in the Forza community, the Online Racing Association's Daytona 24 is happening this weekend, out ahead of the real-world Daytona 24-hour event, which will happen the weekend after next. But yes, we'll do it out here on the virtual raceway with GTLM and Daytona prototype cars for 24 hours straight. And we'll have Lobby A coverage from the green flag dropping on stent number 1 to the checkers or the end of the countdown there on stent number 12. And this is the first time that I'm doing such an event. And yes, it'll be yours truly all the way through. I will definitely be pacing myself, as I mentioned earlier, to make sure that I can make it all the way to the end. To that point, I cannot say this enough. The Tora team has in their Discord set up a interview section, much like what we have here in the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing series. They've set up an interview section. It's only 3 deep, so if there are 3 people in there, you will have to wait until somebody's interviewed and then subsequently dropped from the list. But I would love, and we, the viewers, would love to hear from you, either as a viewer or as a racer who is in between stints, waiting to either take on your stint or maybe you just came off a stint, to have a chit-chat. And because we've got 24 hours of time to fill, I would love to have a word with you, not just on what's going on in the race, but maybe get your thoughts on the future of the Forza franchise, perhaps maybe another organization or association that you're looking forward to in terms of one of the events that they're hosting. Maybe you have one of these eSport Pro events that are coming up that you'll be participating in. As I mentioned earlier, a great opportunity, especially for that event when we'll have an exponential amount more viewers than we had here this evening. A great opportunity for you to chime in, let people kind of hear a little bit about you. Maybe we'll ask some questions, not too personal, about maybe your likes and dislikes in this big wide world. All the fun stuff, of course. Chocolate or vanilla, Chevy or Ford, whatever we can come up with. But get in there. Get yourself recognized just that much more, because there are some of you that are very much popular or well-known within the community. But maybe build your own personal brand, or maybe you're chatting on behalf of your team that you're a part of. Whatever works for you, we'll keep it family friendly. We'll keep it fun, engaging, and it'll be a good time. It really will. It really will. So again, get over to the Tora Discord, and unfortunately, I don't have a link for that right now. Catalyst Patient is asking, but yeah, Big Ben telling him go on over to the forums, and so racetora.com, correct? I'll ask for Big Ben to correct me if I'm saying that incorrectly. Racetora.com. Yep. Racetora.com. Go over to the Forza, or to the Forza. Go over to the forum section of their page and look for the Daytona 24 subforum, and then you'll find the rules and regulations. You'll find the link to the Discord. And I think the Discord is actually even outside of the sub forum for the Tora section, or excuse me, outside of the Daytona 24 section. You'll just find it in the general Tora section. Click on over there, and if I had a link, I would provide that to you. But we'll get that set up the day of. We'll have some commands for Nightbot. I will have a little bit more information down below here at twitch.tv/virtual autosports, so you can just go on down there and click that link. Head on over to that Discord and let's chat. Let's have a good old time. Let's make it an engaging and exciting, as fun of a broadcast as we could possibly make it across a 24-hour stint. I'm going to be relying heavily on you all because after so long, obviously things will start to wear down. My voice will go out, and I'll be needing to feed off of some of your guys' energy there. So, all the way through the day, into the wee hours of the night and morning, and then, of course, concluding things there on January 19th. That's Sunday. Whew. Soul Motion Fire saying, great broadcast. Can't wait to watch the Tora action. You and me both. Catalyst Patient Zeros, good seeing you. Thank you again for your follow earlier on. And we do look forward to seeing you as a more involved part of the community here, either as part of FM4, or maybe you'll be joining us for some chit-chat there during the Tora D24 race. Big Ben here, thank you for your support, and again, my thanks to you for the opportunity with D24, the Daytona 24 Hours for Tora. Mesosphere, great job here. I'm just running through all the folks in the chat. Skolsey was there earlier. Funtang waving goodbye. DWM Frog saying that was a great race, agreeing that the season was very much an exciting and fun one. Very, very true. And Big Ben saying glad to have you. We'll see. Get back to me after the race is over. Let's go out on that with the Daytona 24 information there on the screen. Even if you can get in there only for a short stint of time, that will be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you've got friends who are big fans of Forza or of just virtual motorsport altogether, send them our way on Saturday or Sunday, whatever works for them, and we'll be very welcoming to them and get their thoughts on the action during the broadcast. All of Lobby A too. Again, like it says there on the screen. Lobby B, Lobby C, and Lobby D, I think you'll be able to catch elsewhere. I'm going to look for those details. That way we can share the wealth and get folks over to those areas. Maybe you got a friend or a compadre who is in one of those lobbies. You don't want to miss their action either. So, lots happening here in the Forza Motorsport 7 directory come Saturday and Sunday. Whew. If y'all get any more racing action in between now and Saturday, I won't be. I'm going to go on hiatus. But if you do, keep it fun. Keep it safe. Keep it correct music. Keep it clean. We'll see y'all next time. Take care. Adios. Peace.